Well, Elon is back at it again, buying a massive amount of Tesla shares, which of course means all the pumpers are following up right behind him with all kinds of crazy price targets and who knows what else is out there. But is it really all that crazy, number one? And number two, is it feasible that we hit $1,000 per share anytime soon? So guys, I'm gonna cut through the hype and the noise and everything else. I'm gonna tell you exactly what needs to happen to hit that $1,000 per share. And I'm also going to tell you what is not going to help us hit $1,000 per share, despite all the narratives that are out there. Just make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth off the hype, because that is exactly what we're going to get today, guys. These videos are always my most divisive videos out there on YouTube, and I'm okay with that. This is my journey with Tesla. I've been a Tesla investor since 2020. I have not sold a single share of Tesla during that time, and I've routinely bought undervalued shares. I avoided the $400 hype back in 2021. Instead, I was happily buying it down in 2022, down in the low 100s. We were able to buy last year in the mid 150s, if you can believe that. So I am a long-term believer in Tesla. However, I am not a crazy Tesla bull with crazy price targets, and people that somehow conflate Tesla as an investment doesn't operate like all the rest of the investments out there. Sure, it is unique. Sure, it is a little bit different out there, but there are certain fundamental principle investing things that do hold true with every single stock in the stock market. And that's held true for Tesla as well. That is how come you guys that are right here on this channel, we've been able to routinely make a lot of money on Tesla stock over and over and over again, because we stick with actual facts, not speculation on this channel. Sometimes the facts are ugly. Sometimes the facts are absolutely wonderful. And that is what separates a prudent investor who is highly successful and somebody who just constantly is chasing hype and falling for basically the same retail narratives that we always fall for in the end as retail investors. We're trying to cut through all that and just get you guys down here to the truth. So with all the excitement and everything else around Tesla, and I agree, it's an exciting time, of course, but let's talk about what is not going to get us to $1,000 per share. And then I'll give you exactly what will actually get us to that $1,000 per share. And more importantly, I'm talking about not a hype run like we got in 2021, right? Where it ran up to over $400 for no good reason, because you're going to get a 75% haircut after that, right? That's what's going to happen. I'm talking about a sustained run where that is considered a fair value, or at least in the ballpark of fair value for Tesla stock. All right, so this is what won't get Tesla to $1,000 per share like we just described. So first up, is Elon buying more Tesla shares? Yes, he bought $1 billion worth of stock. That's a massive buy in Tesla. I would agree there completely. I'm not saying that it's not, but you can also take that as relative. Well, I also kind of see the bear side on that a little bit. He's got so much stock-based compensation coming to him here in the future that it really doesn't matter, especially given his wealth level or anything else. But either way, usually that is a positive sign that they're really enjoying what they're seeing with Tesla stock, or management just feels very, very strongly about their actual shares. Now, the reason why I say this doesn't push Tesla up to $1,000 is what exactly does this do to the EPS number? Not a whole lot, right? Doesn't really move anything there on any of the fundamentals with the company itself. Remember, that's what matters in investing. Secondarily, he's not an actual investor, right? It's good news whenever the management team wants to buy in, but I'm sorry, I'm not taking financial advice from Elon. I mean, he's made some pretty bad decisions in the past in regards to investments. Obviously, he's made some good investments as well, but he's not generally a guy that I would want managing my portfolio per se in general. Of course, he doesn't have to. He's got a lot of other ventures coming on. But the point being, in and of itself, there's nothing here that pushes the stock price in any meaningful way at this particular stage. Now, sure, if he wants to go out there and gobble up, spend $250 billion on it, okay, now maybe we're talking a little bit different there. But in regards to this, it doesn't really change the fundamentals all that much for the company, but it is a nice bullish sign. But again, bullish signs don't get you to $1,000 per share, and having the financials and the fundamentals to back up that share price more importantly. So that's the reason why I put it on this side. I understand some folks may not like it. That's okay. This is just simply giving you guys the truth without the hype. And fundamentally, it doesn't do a whole lot for the stock price itself in any meaningful manner. Sure, it does a little bit, not much more than that, but it is a good sign. Next up, Analyst upgrades. Again, these things are utterly useless. We've talked about it a million times on this channel. Seems like whenever, especially with Tesla, right? They get downgraded and everybody's all, oh, that guy's an idiot. Look at him. He's a bear. He's a dummy. He doesn't know what he's doing. Typical Wall Street trying to hold Tesla down, whatever the case is. Then that same exact guy can upgrade it to a price target that you like, or to a buy, whatever the case. And everybody's like, oh man, this means Tesla's going here. Neither one of those are true. They are simply doing whatever the heck their bosses are doing there in the back end, and they are simply facilitating a trade that is on right there. We've said that from the beginning. It might tell you where the momentum is, but I think we can all pretty much tell right now, even before Elon bought back shares, that the momentum has been with Tesla for a few months now, moving up in terms of stock price. So it doesn't really tell me a whole lot outside of where the momentum is going. So whenever you start getting into that, it's nothing that's I don't care if somebody's out there saying it's gonna go to $1,000 per share. Who freaking cares? At the height of 2021, there was a lot of folks out there with a 480 price target, stupid stuff like that, especially the bulls, right? And what happened? Yeah, that's right. All the way right back down, the exact opposite way of what they thought, because they were just simply, that was where the momentum of the trade was. And it's just obviously get you more clicks, more likes, more engagement, more people follow you when you're overly positive on a stock and you throw out these ridiculous price targets. So for me, these mean nothing. Obviously, again, in the end, it doesn't add anything fundamentally to the bottom line. You could push Tesla up to $1,000 today, and it just means that we're at some ungodly PE. And I mean, at that stage, I would be out. And I think the vast majority of large shareholders would be out at that stage if we got that, because there's nothing fundamentally there to back it up whatsoever. It would just be the most epic, overhyped, overpaid, over everything situation ever. And number 3 would be speculation. Until we actually know what robotaxi is going to cost, until we actually know what the actual demand will be for robotaxi, when we know when FSD is actually completed and all approved across the board and everything else, all the people out there throwing out all these different numbers are simply speculating. Elon just saying this is worth trillions, I think we'll make trillions one day, is speculation. That is not what is going to sustain the price at $1,000 per share. Now, of course, execution underneath will absolutely do that. It's nice seeing them starting to execute on robotaxi, but we're a few years away, in my opinion, from actually seeing anything meaningful hitting the bottom line, because right now you are losing money on robotaxi. And I'm not saying it as a negative. That's part of starting up something new. That is how it works with every single company that's out there starting up all these different deals. You see Amazon in the space. Obviously, Google's entered the space as well with Waymo. And all these other players have all entered the space, and you start off losing money before it finally makes money on the back end there. So there is competition there for it. That's the first piece. And second piece, it just takes time for these sort of things to dial out. It's not like all of a sudden robotaxis start testing with a safety driver and, oh man, 6 months later, it's going to add $1 trillion to the market cap. That sort of talk is pure speculation. It's simply for clicks, likes, and pure entertainment. And it's a laughably bad way to invest. More importantly, you can like robotaxi and like what the potential future may be, but until we have something more tangible, we can't even make reasonable projections out there to how much it's going to add to Tesla's bottom line, which is what matters to hitting that sustainable $1,000 per share. You've got to keep that sort of stuff in mind. And Optimus is even further off. So speculating about that is 1,000% useless. Putting that into your models is 1,000% useless, because nobody knows if it's actually going to work, much less what it's going to cost, much less what the actual demand will be, much less what it actually sells for, and on and on and on. We'll be there one day, guys, and we'll be able to talk about this fundamentally. But nobody, Wall Street is not quote unquote ahead so far that you need to pay for it right now in order to not get an opportunity later. That was the same trash that got people in trouble in 2021, following that same exact narrative. Oh my gosh, I got to pay right now because whenever all these things do happen, it's already going to be at, $5,000 per share, or whatever ridiculous projections were out there back then. And obviously the exact opposite happened, and it wasn't true at all. Sorry, you do get time to buy something. Now, I would agree that Wall Street is not going to wait until robotaxis, putting $100 billion on the bottom line in a year before they actually get behind it and start believing it. I would agree there completely, but we're taking two different extremes there. The reality is it always falls right there somewhere in the middle, and it's definitely not going to be where we're at right now with robotaxi, Optimus, and anything else of that nature. Wall Street is not going to speculate out to that. Sure, Dan Ives and those types are going to jump on TV. They're going to talk about it. They're going to talk about this. They're going to talk about that. Guys, they are talking their book, and they're simply trying to get clicks, likes, and engagement. There's a reason why he dresses ridiculous. There's a reason why Gordon Johnson back in the day was just being a Tesla bear for no reason to be a Tesla bear and just basically saying things that weren't true and over the top and a $20 price target and all this other crazy stuff like that, simply because it got him clicks, likes. People tuned in to those videos on CNBC just simply to bash him or to see what sort of ridiculous thing he said. The same exact thing works with the bulls as well. Don't let that sort of stuff fool you. Don't let that sort of stuff sway you into thinking that these three things right here are going to somehow push Tesla to $1,000 per share now in a year or some other thing like that. If it goes there, it is because the traders just simply traded it there, and you were in a severe overvalued situation to where it's going to take years once again to get back to those levels. And that is not a situation I want to be in with Tesla stock. But let's talk about what would actually give us a sustainable run to $1,000 per share. Because if these happen, you are absolutely going to see $1,000 per share at some point in time in the future. Now, of course, we don't know when, because I don't know when these are going to happen. And it's not like they're going to happen all at one time. Just one time it hits and all of a sudden it goes there. But we start seeing things moving in the right direction for Tesla again, then that becomes a possibility. So the first one is significant auto sales turnaround. Got it. All the people screaming at me it's not a car company have been screaming that at me since 2020. Got it. But the reality is more than 80% of the revenue is derived from the cars. And if you want to kind of slide robotaxi in there at some point in time later on, still a lot of that is dependent upon the cars as well. But we need that sales to make significant increases and get back to that pace that we had back then. That's what we need to have happen, because that is what is pushing it. When it makes up 80% of the financials, it's going to take a long time until robotaxi, and obviously even longer until Optimus makes up anywhere near that. Same exact thing with energy. That to me is probably the most exciting piece because it's tangible. It's here now. And unfortunately, it's going to take years for it to make a dent in that auto piece of the business there. So we need sales to turn around and start moving in the right direction at a really, really good clip. Not this where people are trying to twist themselves and not trying to make it seem like, well, this was actually a pretty good quarter for, sales and deliveries. They just haven't been. It's been trash for over a year now. That's the reality of what's been going on with Tesla stock. We need that part of the business to turn around. Sure, if you want to tell me 10 years from now, 20 years from now, the auto sales won't matter nearly as much as they do today, I would agree there completely. But if you're trying to tell me for the next year, 2 years, or our journey up to $1,000 per share, that they're not important, that's just silly talk. That's just somebody speculating. That's somebody who's fallen for all the narratives instead of actually being an investor and understanding what matters to the stock itself, and more importantly, what Wall Street is going to pay for. So we need those auto sales to really start to kick up again, to kind of bridge that gap in between the years until some of those other great things that are coming in the future are actually able to contribute significantly to that bottom line. I know it means I don't understand Tesla now, or whatever the case is. It's just laughable. You're right. I might not, but I do understand stock investing, and this is exactly how it works. And second is actual earnings performance. We need earnings to reflect the great performance of Tesla stock. Auto deliveries are not helpful if it doesn't actually hit the bottom line. FSD is not helpful if we finally solve it one day, but nobody takes up on the subscriptions like we think that they do, and it's not adding a whole lot to the bottom line. The same exact thing with robotaxi. If the margins aren't there like we think we're going to be there and it doesn't add to the bottom line, it doesn't matter. We need earnings performance quarter in and quarter out. We have seen those erode for more than a year now, and we need those to turn around and start going in the right direction. It doesn't mean we can't get hype runs, especially when we're in a hype market like we are right now, where trash is going to the moon. All of a sudden something negative happens about a company, but still sends it to the moon anyways. That's just a product of the market cycle that we're in. That will not last forever. It will end and it will all turn the other way. However, those companies with great earnings performance can keep that momentum going and hang on to those sky high share prices that they're sitting at right now. That's why I haven't really felt the need to, sell off all my Palantir or, a lot of other stocks right now that are riding really, really high, because they are giving me earnings performance underneath the stock. SoFi, great run. To me, it's overvalued by every metric, but they're giving me incredible earnings performance underneath. And I know what the future is with that stock because of the earnings performance. I'm getting the actual tangible data to support the hype and the expectation and what we all want to have happen with the future. Therefore, I feel no need to be in that spot of selling off those shares because it is overvalued right now, because I understand there's something tangible, fundamental there showing me, hey, there's more coming. Doesn't mean the stock price is going to continue to rocket up and we won't have a stagnant period or anything else of that nature. But I feel very, very comfortable holding a company that is performing on earnings. And that's what we need Tesla to turn around. We need Tesla to turn around, start giving us earnings performance. So if we get up, as we're marching up, we can continue to say, hey, it's actually, at a much cheaper valuation than it was whenever it was at $300 per share, $200 per share, whatever the case is, because we're getting that earnings performance underneath, showing us that, hey, yeah, the stock price is higher now, but actually the stock is actually trading cheaper than it was at the lower share price because of the earnings performance underneath. So if we get those two things rocking and moving in the right direction, then over the course of multiple quarters, multiple years, that sustained $1,000 per share is a possibility. Now, when that happens, who knows? Tesla's got to execute first. I don't care about any of Elon's tweets. I don't care about any projections or master plans, 6.75920, whatever the case is. We need simple execution underneath. And then that is when you'll see meaningful, sustainable moves in the market and more importantly in the stock price, which can happen, but we just got to wait and be a little bit patient here in the meantime. And if you stuck around this long in the video, I may have left something special for those of you guys that did down there. It's the pinned comment down there where you would see exactly what we were doing with Tesla stock. You would have known to avoid it at 400 and instead buy it in the low 100s. You would have seen all of us buying it last year in the mid 150s or so. And so many other times through Tesla's journey, get earnings calls. If we do them live, I do them right there with you guys to cut through. what's the BS versus what's actually important in those earnings. Plus, you get free coaching, free courses, direct access to me on Q&As weekly at least, see all my buy and sell at real time, see my complete watch list with price targets, see exactly where I would want to buy Tesla at again, and so much more, guys. Check out the pinned comment, see if your membership's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.